Breaking news. The Steelers are in a bit of a tizzy behind the scenes, and I have some news that many of you won't like. Aaron Rodgers just made a comment in the last few hours that has sparked a firestorm of debate among fans and analysts. Man, I don't particularly agree with Rodgers' signing. I don't know about you, but I believe Khan should invest in some younger talent. If you agree with me, hit the like button hard. And if possible, write this: the Steelers don't need Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers, a four-time NFL MVP, caused quite a stir during a Quanda session at a music tour event hosted by artist Mike Stud in Austin. When discussing his future, Rodgers didn't ignore the question about playing in Chicago. Instead, he leaned forward, hard. "No, but I think there's a team that could play in Chicago this year. A little road trip. I don't know. I'm not sure. We'll take a look," he said with a wry smile that immediately sent shockwaves through Steelers circles. Why? Because guess who's headed to Chicago for a Week 12 matchup in late November? That's right, the Pittsburgh Steelers. It wasn't just idle chatter. When asked directly if he'd sign with the Steelers, Rodgers gave a cryptic but telling answer: "You never know." It wasn't a denial. It wasn't a distraction. It was just enough to put every fan and analyst on high alert. While it's true that the Vikings and Saints also have games in Chicago this season, Rodgers' specific language, focusing on a single road game, makes the Steelers the more logical choice. He didn't mention playing them twice, which would be the case if it were the Vikings. As for the Saints, they've made it clear they're out of the running. They're rebuilding and have rookie Tyler Show as their focus. So what's left? It's Pittsburgh, or retirement. And if Rodgers really is eyeing the Steelers, this isn't just some end-of-career pit stop. It's a full-circle move to an iconic franchise, hungry to return to Super Bowl contention, and loaded with young talent ready to rally behind a veteran leader. Still, the big question lingers. Why hasn't he signed yet? Veteran Steelers insider Mark Kabley weighed in, reporting that Rodgers isn't expected to participate in the upcoming OTAs beginning next Tuesday. Kabley speculates we might not see any official announcement until minicamp on June 10th at the earliest. That timing is important. OTA sessions are voluntary. Minicamp is not. And if Rodgers signs after that mandatory window, the team can't fine him for missing it. Is he delaying to dodge early practices, or is he still sorting through personal decisions? It's this strange dance that's both frustrating and fascinating for fans. Rodgers is 41. This likely isn't a long-term marriage. If he's coming to Pittsburgh, it's for one shot. A season of all-in commitment. So wouldn't it make sense for him to want every second of prep with his new team? Every rep with his center, every read with his receivers, every adjustment with his play caller? But here's the truth fans can't ignore. Rodgers has always been unpredictable. He enjoys controlling the narrative. Whether it's about rehab, retirement, or roster decisions, he keeps people guessing. This could all be performance art, or it could be the clearest breadcrumb trail he's ever laid down. The Steelers are in a unique position. They've got weapons. They've got a defense. They just need that final piece. Rodgers knows this. And the way he's talking about Chicago, there's a real chance he's thinking about walking into Soldier Field in Steelers gear, once again hearing boos from a city that's never forgiven him for all those years in Green Bay. So the question becomes, when? Will he make the call before minicamp? After? Right before training camp? Or will he pull the ultimate swerve and retire after stirring the pot one last time?
Let me know in the comments what you think, Steelers Nation. Do you believe Aaron Rodgers is truly coming to Pittsburgh? Or is this just another twist in his long, unpredictable story? Because here's where things get even more intriguing. If this really is just another mind game from Rodgers, he's playing it to perfection. The timing, the subtlety, the ambiguity, he's left just enough on the table to keep fans hopeful, analysts debating, and the Steelers front office waiting. But if this is real, if this is a calculated soft launch into what could be his final act, then Pittsburgh is quietly preparing for the most seismic shift the franchise has seen in over a decade. Behind closed doors at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex, you have to imagine that contingency plans are in place. Offensive coordinator Arthur Smith is undoubtedly mapping out two playbooks, one for Mason Rudolph and Will Howard, and another tailor-made for Aaron Rodgers' cannon arm, his surgical precision, and his unparalleled experience in high-stakes moments. Make no mistake, this wouldn't be just another veteran quarterback signing. This would be a culture shift, a signal to the entire locker room and the entire league that the Steelers are done waiting for their next era. They're trying to win now, but there's risk, and Steelers Nation knows it. Rodgers hasn't taken a meaningful snap since tearing his Achilles just 4 plays into the 2023 season. He's 41. He's missed off seasons before. And while his resume is untouchable, the question of how much he has left in the tank lingers like a shadow over every discussion. Yet, when healthy and motivated, Rodgers remains one of the few quarterbacks in the world who can elevate a franchise from competitive to championship caliber. The Steelers roster, meanwhile, isn't far off. Najee Harris in the backfield. George Pickens maturing into a potential WR1. An offensive line that's been heavily invested in. And let's not forget the recent $30 million per year deal handed to DK Metcalf, who's expected to wear number 4 in Pittsburgh. A trio of Rodgers, Metcalf, and Pickens? That's a nightmare for any AFC defense. Add to that a defense led by TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, and Cam Hayward, and you've got the kind of balance Rodgers has rarely had in his career. But the uncertainty still hovers. Rodgers skipping OTAs would be a missed opportunity. Chemistry matters. Timing takes reps, and if this is truly a one-year run, one last chase for a ring, every day counts. That's what has some fans nervous. Not just that he might retire, but that he might coast into the season without the full immersion that's necessary to hit the ground running. Yet, here's what separates this situation from others. Rodgers chose to tease this. Nobody forced his hand. Nobody leaked it. He wanted us to know. He wanted you, the fan, to talk about it, to hope, to react. That tells us something. That tells us he hasn't checked out. That tells us he's still invested in the idea of coming back. Maybe he hasn't signed because he's waiting for the perfect moment to make it his. Maybe he wants a spectacle, a rollout worthy of a quarterback of his stature. Maybe, just maybe, he's letting the anticipation build because when the news finally drops, it won't just be a transaction, it'll be an event. And that brings us back to Mark Kaboly's timeline. If Rodgers isn't expected to show up for OTAs, and if minicamp participation is also in doubt, then what exactly is he waiting for? Is it a strategic move to avoid fines? A way to maintain leverage in final negotiations? Or is this just classic Rodgers, operating on his own schedule, knowing full well the lead will wait? Because let's be honest, if Rodgers walks into Pittsburgh's facility tomorrow and signs that deal, he's QB1. No questions asked. Mason Rudolph? Solid. Will Howard? Developmental. But Aaron Rodgers is a different universe. And that's what makes this situation so volatile, so fascinating. We're not just waiting on a quarterback. We're waiting on a future. We're waiting to see whether this franchise takes the leap from hopeful to dangerous. A growing portion of the Steelers fan base isn't buying into the Rodgers hype. Many believe that bringing in a 41-year-old quarterback, fresh off a major injury, isn't the path to a Super Bowl. They argue that it's time to build around younger talent, developing a long-term solution at QB instead of chasing short-term fixes. The message is clear. Steelers Nation wants fresh blood, not fading stars. To truly compete, we need a future, not a final chapter. Fans are craving a new era, one that energizes the locker room, unites the fan base, and restores the franchise's identity of toughness, grit, and long-term excellence. Rodgers, while a legendary name, represents a gamble. If the goal is sustained success and not just a one-year run, then investing in a young quarterback with upside is what many believe will get us back to the Super Bowl. They want a QB who grows with the team, not one who might walk away after one season. The fear is that signing Rodgers might delay the real rebuild we desperately need. But here's what I want to know from you. Do you think Aaron Rodgers is truly committed to a full-throttle season in Pittsburgh? Or is this delay a sign that he's still on the fence about everything? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more updates. We've got another video lined up for you right here on the screen. Click it, and let's keep this conversation going. Go Steelers!